Why, hello, our friends, wherever you may be, down below, or in the house next door, or the FBI, like, spying on me or something. It's really funny. There's a signal. I noticed this before any of this Arcturian stuff happened to me, but I would notice this on my Wi-Fi. I would see FBI van and a number there, and I would think, oh, ha ha ha, that's such a funny joke, or whatever. But see, these are the tactics that are used. It's put right in front of you so that you couldn't possibly think there's actually the FBI outside. And that now they honk, and like I said originally, they honk and do interesting things to try to give themselves cues, or it's not actually all of them. The FBI people, I think, are a lot smarter than that, but whoever else is out there. Because this town came under a whole reptilian ambush, basically. But what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about something, well, I'm allowing what I say now, mostly in the future, basically, to be directed by Cryon, because Cryon is the... I know for sure right now the only actual real friend that I have, who has my entire survival in mind. In the way that a human thinks of being alive and being safe, right? So, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna go with you, Cryon. And he said, well, you're gonna talk about something tonight, but it's not gonna be about the 666 thing. I want you to keep working on that, but you're doing a good job. I want you to do some stuff first. And he had me go through this process, and had me drink some stuff. I'm gonna say homeopathy type things, if you're wondering, tincture type stuff that is supposed to help with fear. And I said, hey, why are you telling me to drink this? And he said, you'll see. And so after I did, he said, I want you to talk about the corruption of Ibogaine. I want you to talk about what its founder started with all of this, how he talked to you. I want you to tell you about how a year is coming up on how he started talking to you, how he told you about all of this, and how now it's come true. And I said, oh my god, are you serious? You want me to say this on YouTube? The typical Ibogaine community thing is, let's handle it amongst ourselves, like the Amish people. But you see, nothing actually gets done, and part of the problem, all the people at the top of Ibogaine are reptilian or gray right now, or Yael. So, or they're like Arcturians who are enslaved. And one of them is really, really in a great position to keep something like Ebola out of their country. I don't know what that means to you. Alright. Ibogaine is a substance that basically cures opiate addiction. This is true. That's part of the reason it was made monopolized now. The conference that I was at in South Africa, when I saw the guy who, when I saw Jonathan Dickinson completely censor and steal my presentation, and instead talk about how they're going to monopolize the growing of the Iboga tree, I thought, oh my god. But Cryon said, don't tell him he's a Pleiadian. Don't tell him he's a Pleiadian. I know you can see it and you want to scream, oh hi Pleiadian! Don't tell him he's a Pleiadian. Just don't do anything. I wasn't sure if he was telling me that because Jonathan didn't know, or if he was telling me that because they already did all know, and that Cryon was trying to keep me more under wraps so that they wouldn't all, know so quickly what abilities I had or did not have. So, a 19-year-old kid named Howard wanted to trip this one day, and he ends up taking a drug that cures his heroin addiction. And this is true. It it connects to the mu, kappa, and delta opioid receptors. Remember my joke with the indigo children? All of us, we didn't know what the fuck was going on, so we all became drug addicts. Now people who were watching and seeing, you know, at a grand scale, oh, we've got all these streams of indigo coming in, that means they're warriors trying to stop us. Shit, okay. What are we gonna do? Okay, well, okay, now we've got them all hooked on drugs. Shit, they're figuring out how to get off the drugs. Crap! Okay, alright, let's monopolize the stuff that they need. Just like I was talking about, let's get it here. This stuff. And specifically this one, I almost died from consuming this. It's the exclusive. And I got this Bob Marley thing, which is a joke. That's kind of how I stopped the nuclear war, Agenda 21 thing on the 20th. Had to do with Bob Marley because he was so involved with the whole thing, and I could hear it in his music so strongly. But so in order to control us, the indigo kids and the crystal kids, any of us that ended up becoming so whacked out, instead of murdering ourselves, we decided to get ourselves on drugs so we could cope, then decided, wait, we have to get off of drugs. What better thing to monopolize than something that you can use to brainwash somebody? If you're a gray or a reptilian, which they're alien versus predator fighting against each other and no one knows who's really in charge anymore, even though I can tell you that the grays think that, how could they ever think that they're in charge of us, because we're like master of the dark arts, whatever type thing, and then the reptilians at the top, it's like the sick mafia. But then it's like at the top, it's like you got both of them, and then it's like Darth Vader and Darth Other Vader fighting each other, which is just stupid. Which is what happened. Alien versus Predator is kind of what happened in the whole Marco versus Simon thing. That's really funny now. That is so funny. That was all law of attraction to you guys too, and you guys know it. And speaking of both those people, I didn't see any of them in South Africa. But I pity the white ones that live in South Africa, because I say I pity the white ones, not because of a racial thing, but because they're the ones with the power right now, and if they would get off their asses and do something about this shit in their water, number one thing, change your water, idiots. That will affect some differences for many of you who are just so pissed off that I'm still alive and actually talking about this. So, what I'm wearing, this is my Ibogaine provider robe. I had a Starseed friend who at the time I did not know was spying on me. Those of you who are Starseeds who still have your heads screwed on straight, and aren't zero or having sex with Satan or something bizarre, you've probably been followed around throughout your life at different times, or given things by different people. But because this one person was such a unique starseed, she grabbed this off the ground. It was in San Francisco. She grabbed this off the ground. She said, "Krista, I know this is meant for you to wear. This is meant for you to wear." And I just picked it up and said, "Oh, looks cool." And sure enough, it became what I would call my provider robe. I would not conduct a flood without wearing this thing for some reason. I just, for some reason, just couldn't do it. I mentally just like would wear the thing, or it would feel like it was completely half-assed if I wasn't actually dressed up. Now, minus the whole prom dress thing, but dressed up in my normal hippie-looking garb, which it looks like most of you can just stare at if you want nowadays, through the telescreen, like meaning my cell phone. Telescreen, which is 1984 joke for anybody who doesn't know that, because I definitely didn't. I never read 1984 because it was so popular until it became 2014 instead of 1984. He was, I guess, off by some years there, but he was sure right. So how a lot of this stuff happened to me goes back to Ibogaine, so I can see why Kron would be telling me to talk about it. Also, for reference to the strange mark on my head, I said, Cryon, why are you having me do this? I understand the eyes. You know, there's these large eyes. Arcturians have very, very large eye sockets that are dark color, that make them look like those big almond eyes. But their eyes are more smaller, like human eyes. It's just the big eye socket that has a color there that makes it look like the almondy eyes. It's not like grays that actually have these big almond eyes. It just looks kind of like almond eyes. So I understood like what he was. I don't know how to put on makeup, so I'm here with my fingers doing this, and he said, well, a lot of people, I want you to do this on your forehead, and for the people who understand, it's apparently it's a handprint. I asked him, what the heck are you having me do? And he said, press your fingerprint into it very strongly. And I, why? And finally, when I was done, I looked down and I saw the cross, and he said, because of how many people are wanting to hurt you, especially when they watch what I'm going to have you talk about, they will be trying to attack you while you are actually talking, and so you need lots of protection for this. This mark that I want you to put on your forehead is like my hand. Is almost saying it like that, well, people who are familiar with you can see there are three. I thought it was drawing a flower at first. I had no idea what I was doing. And let's see, is the carbon monoxide thing worn off the book yet? Where'd you go? In book 12, wherever the hell it is, you'll see, like the stick figure, kind of like Lyra-y looking, and it's holding out its hand, but it has these three thick fingers, and I'm like, Arcturians don't have like three thick fingers. It's weird looking. And then he kind of flashed that image for me, and I said, "Oh, okay, I understand. So it's like she's mine. I'm around her. You can't hurt her." So basically, the founder of Ibogaine was assassinated because I don't think he was exactly okay with all of this stuff. Ended up watching it go by, watching the world domination stuff happen, and not doing anything about it. It was like what he was telling me was like all these people were my friends and I really loved them, but they would do things to me, but then tell me, no, it's for the good of all and for everybody, and I just had so much faith that it was all going to work out, and then everything, the rest of the story, was kind of how it went, and I realized, oh my god, so, I'm watching Cisco here, big producer, moneymaker, put portraits of you on the wall, and every time I would walk by, Howard would say, I hate that, my best friend, and start crying and stuff. Like the portrait, when I would take pictures of it, because it looked cool, and I would think, well, okay, I won't take pictures of it, I'm sorry. And then my grandma started knocking the guy's picture off the wall, the other guy, who was the friend who Howard was upset with. Yeah. What happened before this, what really spiraled lots of things into motion was, there was basically the best producer in the world guy, who goes by many names, but the name he was going by at that particular time is Marco. in that particular whatever guise that he wanted to go in. Because the Yell and the Greys, they do that. And the Reptilians and the whole intermixing, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, they do that. So, I didn't know there was anything extraterrestrial going on. I just knew something strange was going on. And I was being, told, yes, I understand, you're a very good Ibogaine provider. And I think, yeah, I know, apparently I've thought of things that no one else has thought of, or I'm getting told, Krista, girl, I figured out not ever to let a mom around again. And I'm thinking, Randy, I figured that out, like, the second treatment, and you're saying you trained me, like, no. Oh, and for the record, I trained myself. Yeah, anyone who would like to know, me, Eden Hawk, Other Rising Sun, Krista Elizabeth Hauer, Princess Andromeda, all that. I trained myself with the Ibogaine providing. It was downloaded to me. I would call it like Iron Man. I would try to explain it to people like Iron Man. After the Iron Man movie came out, it was like Robert Downey Jr. in a cave making stuff, and now he's got the whole like Iron Man thing inside of him. I could just figure out what to do. And all I needed was somebody to push me in the right direction, or say, oh, you can actually do this. Turns out the person probably at the time did not know, or may have known, but they were being pushed to watch me, to supervise me, because I understood that my relationship with a certain person had no benefit to me at all, except information. And occasionally I would lose money or things like that. So, but I thought, well, I'm not sure what all this is about. And then that person introduces a certain person, bummer, to their wife, bummer man. Oh, best friend who's gray. He wanted to put me in a position where I would be kind of like a almost willing slave. And I figured it out at the last minute. He wanted me to come to Austria, to Wien, because he knew I liked German, because I am like half German, and could speak at least some German. Now that I don't have a DVT here anymore, it sounds totally garbled. I said, wait, but I don't have the money to pay to fly there. How am I being compensated? What's going on? So finally I just called it off and said no. Then he said, well, would you do me a favor and help train my friend Dejan, or whatever the hell name. Just, because the names don't really matter. They use fake names. Because with this mirror magic stuff, like think Death Note, name and face. That's how it works. That is when I was imprisoned. I thought, as Cryon said to me, Krista, like Death Note, name and face, and I thought, oh, okay, I get it now. So all the Reptilians, they use just whatever names. They just make up a name like John or Kelly or George or whatever the hell name. So I figured out that he wanted to use me as a slave because, well, for one, it turned out he thought I was pretty, but the real reason was because he wanted me training everybody. He wanted to train me in the darker arts so that I could train his people, because he could see that I was so naturally good at all of this stuff. And nobody had ever, apparently, as Dune fans, bummer man, will say, bested him. So I, shall we say, bested him. And he didn't really take kindly to that and then tried to kill me. But it was a whole collaboration of people that, quote, tried to kill me, or are still trying to do that because of talking about this stuff. I mean, they throw a fit if I try to take a shower and do things to my internet or such, anything to distract me from actually living my life, or helping another person live their lives. So, with Ibogaine, the big secret is gonna come out, whether people like it or not. Right now, Ibogaine, where it is produced, how it is produced, is done so in a fashion that will harm you when you consume it energetically, at least. When and where, you know, where it's produced, everything is done basically with slavery. We're talking almost total slavery. And because they felt so threatened by me going around saying, hey, this is blatant slavery and sexism, and I would, you know, total sexism is in, like, men would not speak to me because I was female. I would go up and ask some sort of question like, what time is it? And receive no response because I was female. And I remember looking at Chris Jenks and saying, you know, there are problems with the Lyme disease here, but I can't really change my gender. So basically, with getting treated with Ibogaine right now, it's going into a crapshoot. All the production, the main production, unless you can do it yourself, which is what I might have to do, unless the main production is reptilian gray controlled, and if you won't go in on it, then they try to kick you out of the whole thing. If you're just some low-level provider, I don't know about this time and age now, but in the past it seemed like if you were a lower-level person like me, they wouldn't bother you. But if you really did it a lot, or you were good at it, or really made up a stink about it, like I did, then they would try to target you, make you dependent on them. And so, if you want to actually quit drugs without going to someone who is going to try to feed off of your soul in the process, I suggest you do that with me. What I've always believed with Ibogaine providing is that the idea was to get the person to heal themselves. And this was before the New Age people saying that's how it worked. I just thought that all I'm doing is I'm sitting here figuring out some issues so the person can do it themselves and fix everything. Like, give an example, first guy that I treated works for Interpol now, and, you know, with all that stuff and the FBI outside, or presumed whatever the hell the FBI van thing is. That's a prank. It's a funny prank. Basically, you know, and the guy was gonna go end up getting some property because he ends up getting, was so successful after I treated him that he gets the job. Then sends me an email, says he wants to get some property in place, and I start telling him, hey, down here in South Africa, this is a nightmare. I need to tell you about this, what to really do for this, because this is insane. And it turns out, you know, people that I would get sent, after a few years, people who would email me would actually be spies, kind of like the whole Dimitri sting operation thing, except no one's actually done the whole sting operation thing to me, and it's because they can't. Why can't they? That's the law of attraction. It is impossible. It is impossible to stop me saying I'm going to do what I'm going to do. If you understand that I am in the light love capacity without the dark. If you're doing the whole, got the darkness out there, you're doing the whole darkness thing, or, you know, dressed up in the whole dark black, you know, black stuff, or whatever. This just happens to be like the Ibogaine provider thing, so I was wearing it. But with all the dark stuff. If you're doing that, no, it's not cool. No, it's not. It's not like cool. It's not. It's not going to help you. It is designed by its structure, its function, to suck you of your energy source, of your soul, your light source, in the light source part of your soul. It's designed to suck you of that while you keep on sucking other people dry. So you're getting screwed over while you're screwing over other people. That sounds like a lose-lose to me. I suggest win-win instead. And then, you know, it's really funny, like, practically save somebody's life. Now I know that stuff is so real, it's not even funny. Don't even go there with me. Save certain chemist daughter's life, and then certain daughter tries to like kill me and throws stuff at me. Would you like to see it? It's outside. I'm not gonna do that though. I'm so not gonna do that. But yeah. Oh shit! Oh wow, Krista really is an indigo child, isn't she? And Cryon says, stop doing that, Krista. You're going to draw too much to yourself. You don't have to make everyone in the world mad at you. So, what does this say for humanity? So, if you're interested in Ibogaine, it's not hard to find out about Ibogaine. But what you will find out quickly, without even seeing this, is that a bunch of Ibogaine providers are out there to screw you over. Just to make money off of you. And then at the top, they're attempting to create a gray reptilian monopoly at the top. And, oh crap, Krista figures this out and starts putting it on the internet. Oh, what, is my internet connection going to die next? What funny thing is going to happen next? I don't know. That's what Cryon said. Just drink the thing to, you know, that stops fear a lot, and just go do it. And so, what can this tell us about the resilient human spirit? All of the people who are still what you would consider yourself human, if you want to use labels like this, if you still are thinking in your own head without stuff telling you what to do, and you're still standing in this dimension alive, or you're capable of watching this, basically, somehow, on a typical way, like a computer or a cell phone that people think of in the third dimension, then there is no real genetic difference between you and me. That's what Cryon wants to get across to people, that this genetic stuff, the eugenics stuff, that the point is you wouldn't be alive if you weren't, like, genetically the cream of the crop or whatever. So he says if you want to think of cream of the crop, it's all of you guys. Every single one, because you're alive right now. The people that you couldn't ascend died off, and other creatures inhabited their bodies, like my mom, apparently. Or if we want to say it in a more normal sounding fashion, my mom comes from a Masonic bloodline and was probably very placidly, or, you know, under duress going along with this stuff to control me, then became kind of complicit with it, and then finally when I stopped nuclear war, she was suddenly, you know, possessed by, you know, another entity. And now how could you tell that it was something other than my mother? Well, acted totally not like Mom, and it was like, I'm staring at a thing, but you're not my mother. What the heck is up? And I asked her, tell me what was special about my birth. When I was born, something was really special about how I was born. Tell me about that. And this was something that she had repeated so many times that, you know, to me when I was young and as a teenager, that I knew, okay, this is my mom. She's going to know what I'm talking about, and she's going to know what it is. And she just started saying, oh, well, you know, it was so hard, and I no. And I said, what was on my head? I tried to, you know, get warmer. Let's see if you can get any warmer. What was on my head? And she did not know. I was born with what she called a halo on my head, and she called me her angel baby for that reason. And I was born with an indented shape like this of the pelvic bones, which would not move. Her pelvic bones would not dilate like that so that baby can go through. So I was stuck there like this. And when they did a C-section, finally I came out, and I came out with a halo, an indented, what looked apparently like a halo. And I guess a bunch of people noticed, and she said, because of that, I started calling you my angel baby. And I guess that sent chills down the spines of some of the reptilians in that hospital in Torrance, California that day of the year of the harmonic convergence of 1987. Because the harmonic convergence, that's when a lot of this stuff started changing. That's when a lot of the magnetic grid started realigning. So, if you are a drug addict, a lot of our reptilian friends, total drug addicts, guys. If you are a drug addict wanting to not be a drug addict, and you're interested in Ibogaine, yes, it absolutely, positively works. But, let's just say that, people are so scared of me actually making some money doing this, because as one girl, a Canadian girl, a crystal child, or one of the newer children, said when she was in Brazil and talked to a girl her own age, the child said, "I wish I was rich. And then what I would do is I would give all the money away to everybody else so that we would all have food and health care and all of that." It's a scenario like that where I'm being financially sort of drained. The idea is to financially drain me so that I can't actually do those things like free stuff for everybody. Oh, Cryon says something, but I'm not going to say it because he says, don't say it, but just remember this. Someone who you were talking with said something a long time ago. Remember that. And so I'm saying, okay, remember. So with actually going to anywhere, you know, I'm sure you could go to places with people who I saw engage in some of the sickest things ever. While I reacted in difficult ways because, I mean, I had heart blasted at me and I was the only person who could actually feel it. So I was acting like a basket case in front of all of them, which was just perfect. But they knew what they were doing too. They actually stole my glasses also, which is why now my vision is better. Thank you guys. Also, Ibogaine providers steal from each other. I didn't really know that was because it was all going